So now it is my profound pleasure and honor to introduce our next speaker, the Mahanta, the Living Ek Master, Sri Doug Kunin.
Surprised you, huh? Now, some of you may have known. My wife did. You're clapping for yourselves, you know. Your divine destiny. So, happy calendar new year. This is January 2026 here at the Temple of Ek. And our theme and topic is a new year of spiritual growth. And to echo something that was said earlier in the program, pick your unit of time to declare new. Maybe you just want to say, it's a new week of spiritual growth, or a new day of spiritual growth. Lots of freedom in there. It's never too late to declare a golden age, a new golden age for yourself. No matter where you are in life, maybe you face some changes, health, career, finances. Just go ahead and declare victory and set your goals and pursue them with the aid of divine spirit. Well, speaking of spirit, when we say spiritual growth, what do we mean? How is spiritual growth different or unique? And it caused me to think about a flower. Pick a rose. A rose is a thing of exquisite natural beauty, and it's living by the law of its own being. And from bud to full flowering, it's always giving 100%. 100%, 100%, 100%. The question is, do we? So another take on this spiritual growth theme, there was a young man who just recently started his study of the Ek teachings, and he wrote in and he said, I believe that spirituality is about finding the purpose of life. I think that was right on. Many of us here today, maybe that's where our spiritual quest began. And as human beings, we're meaning creatures. We need to have a reason for living, not just merely existing. Now, I will say, our pets may be ahead of us in this. And you know what I'm talking about. So if you ask a dog, if you have a pet dog, Fido, whatever your name is, what's your mission statement for life? He or she is likely to say, love you, love you. Did I say I love you? I love you. Although from time to time I will tear up the living room couch, I will bite into the pillows and tear out the stuffing and frolic. But I feel bad about that, I really do. But did I say I love you? I really love you. Now, cat people, hang on here. So my wife and I have a cat named Libby. She's 17 years old. I'm going to try not to cry. And she can be sitting in her spot. She's got a spot by the window. And we'll be sitting there, and she can just tell, if the humans are having a bad hair day, she'll get off the little perch and come over and purr and, cuddle up. And then we're petting her, and she's giving us love, and she's kind of like, I'm giving, but I'm also getting. And that's a favor to you humans. You get to give out the love. And so you could look at it. The purpose of life, very simply, is to give and receive love. Now, being humans, when we get to the purpose of life, we don't particularly like being told what it is. That's someone else's answer. We don't like being told what to believe. That's good. So it's all about, you've got to get your own answers to this in whatever way you choose to do that. And it's an individual thing, and it can start in childhood. Many people here probably started their spiritual meaning quest in childhood. For me, it began over 60 years ago. And 5-year-old Doug we're living in an apartment building in a large city, and we were on the 6th floor. You could see out at night, and you'd look out and see the stars. And I called to my parents in the other room. I said, because I was aware that's called space. Where does space end? And I hear, it doesn't. And I'm like, it doesn't what? It doesn't end. And my 5-year-old consciousness kind of broke because you're taking in the concept of infinity now. And my mind just couldn't quite get there. It's like it kept setting up a wall somewhere out in space. Well, it has to end somewhere. There's a wall out there probably. And then every time I would soul travel in my imagination to the wall, and then I'd hit the wall and start to walk away, and but what's on the other side of the wall? There's always something on the other side of the wall. And whoever or whatever knows what's on the other side of the wall is God. Well, that was the macrocosm. The microcosm was, what am I? Who am I? At that young age, I was like, well, what is me? And one day, it was a summer day, we had the free run of the apartment building, my brother and I was wearing yellow shorts. And I don't know, I'm in a stairwell somewhere, he's running up, I'm running around, and I look down, I realize, I'm wearing yellow shorts. I'm wearing them. Well, who is the I that's wearing the shorts? And then it was like a particle of awareness, a point of awareness. I was out of my body, looking back at my body wearing the yellow shorts. And I realized I'm wearing the yellow shorts, but I'm wearing this body. Then who's the me that's seeing all this? And these words came through. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. That was like my little mantra. And it was like an indestructibility equation. I realized I can't die. Now, we did throw toys off the deck of the apartment. So I wasn't going to jump, but it kind of served me well for a long time. And later in life, maybe 9, 10 years old, reading the Bible, I was reading about Moses and the burning bush. And if you recall this, Moses he's out with the flocks and he sees the burning bush. He goes up to it, flames, but the bush is not burned. And it starts speaking to him. The voice of God is speaking to him. And it's asking him to go on a mission to save the Israelites in their state of slavery. And he's like, but who am I going to say sent me when I go back to the Israelites and tell them I'm here to tell you we're going to do this? And the voice said, I am that I am. And when I read that, I was like, what? That sounds really familiar. And then God shortened it for Moses. Okay, just tell him I am sent you. And do I have like a burning bush inside me that's talking to me? Do I have like a living scripture inside of me that's giving me truth? What's your answer to that one? Yes, everybody does. Everybody has this higher truth inside them, awaiting to be awakened. So, soul exists because God loves it. That love is the light within. It's the in light that we talk about when we say enlightenment. It's in there. And the voice is there too. So in childhood, everybody looked at picture books of the universe, the planets, and you probably had a favorite planet maybe. Mine was Saturn. I just love those rings. And, it's great to see those picture books. Then one day, early teens, I got to look through a telescope. There was Saturn, like the real photons of light coming off the planet and back here, striking my eyeballs. And I was just like, I was astounded in awe and the beauty of Saturn and its rings. And it brought home a spiritual point. Seeing is not just believing. Seeing is knowing. There's the difference between seeing the picture in the book and seeing the real thing. And then you know. So that's what it's like for purpose of life. In the news, there's a lot of near-death experiences articles going through the media, and it's great. A lot of great stories being shared, a lot of great experiences of people who have had near-death experiences. And it really speaks to the thirst of humanity to know, is there life after death? What's on the other side? And we want to know that because it gives meaning to this life. Growing up, you talk about that. In my family, it was, it's either, you live, you die, you're forgotten. Boom. That's it. Random, it's all absurd. Then there's a little step beyond that. You live on in the memories of others. Now, that's nice. Wasn't enough, right? That's not enough. Someday, even, in the far distant future, no one's going to remember you someday. So then there's also, and this is a pretty good way to approach it, you die and you go back to the universal energy. A good friend of mine always likes to say, energy is neither created nor destroyed. So you live in this human body, you have an individual identity, you die, you forget you're an individual, you go back to the big cloud. You're back into the cloud. I wasn't my favorite either. I wanted to know that the individual survives in some way. Because when you see people you love, creatures you love die, it's like, what was it for? Yes, to touch our hearts. So a spiritual approach to life can help you prove life after death for yourself. And one easy way, a very easy way, is through dreams. Every night, we are having a near-death experience. Earlier in the program, you heard about there's an upcoming workshop or class or discussion of NDEs, nightly dream experiences. That's a little bit of a take off of the NDE acronym. And it's true. Conscious dreaming, and working with it spiritually can open you up to inner dimensions beyond this physical world. And it's a form, dream travel is a form of soul travel. You've heard of soul travel. So here's one example from my own life. Sleeping in bed, and I'm dreaming, and I'm walking on a city street. And I'm walking along, and then I realize I'm dreaming. Have you ever had a lucid dream? Lucid dreaming, lots of people shaking their heads. And that is so cool. I'm awake in the dream. What do I want to do next? And there's high rises along here, and I hear music and voices from upper one of these buildings up higher, one of these levels up. And so I try a door, and there's a stairwell, and I'm consciously going up a level, up a level, up a level. And I was very conscious of it was on the third level. That's where the party is. So I find the party. I go in. There's all these people talking, very happy, and there's people sitting on a couch. And I look over there, and I recognize someone, and it's a woman, and it's her mid to late 30s, and it looks like my mother, the way she looked when she was at that age. And I'm like, it's her. Now, can she see me? Because I'm from a different vibrational level right now. Maybe my atoms aren't seen by all these people, but I see her, and I want to go up and just hug her. But you've seen these movies where like people from different dimensions try to touch each other and they just pass through, no contact. I say, Mom? And she looks up, she goes, hi, yeah. She's up on her feet. We go up and we hug, and it's like, yes. It's like an embrace, just like in the physical world. And it was really sweet. We just got to talk and chat, and she asked how things are going. And I said, you know what? She said, well, what? I said, I'm asleep in bed down there. Like, way down there. And there's Sharon there. And she's like, oh, I have something for Sharon. Really? What do you got? And she had a cup with this gooey substance in it. It was like a herbal concoction from the causal plane or something. And she's like, oh, here it is. I'm like, oh, thanks. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get this back there? How am I going to do this? And so we said our goodbyes, down a level, down a level. And then I wake up in bed, and there's no herbal concoction there. But that's how it can work. Here's another story about lucid dreaming, and I'm going to put my glasses on because I want to get the details right. So we'll call this gentleman Ben, and he works at a place where they're engineers, scientists. I don't know what the actual business is, but that's what engineers and scientists, and they have team meetings every month, and they have icebreakers. And so the icebreaker for the month was give your name, when you joined this particular department, what was your childhood dream job? And number 4, this was so creative, share a hobby you love that most other people find strange or unappealing. Whoever came up with that, that's like perfect. So this gentleman, Ben, I don't know if you passed this in or he said it. This is what he said, I guess. My favorite hobby is keeping a dream journal. For the past 20 years, I've been recording my dreams every morning because I love exploring the dream world. Let me interject. He's a student of Eckankar. Okay. Even though my father passed away 20 years ago, I met him again in a very vivid dream last year. So this is a big group of people hearing this. So there's 3 days of meetings. He's at breakfast, and 2 women come up to sit down with him at the table. And they are very curious about that dream. They're asking him about the dream. He is sharing, and they start turning to spirituality. He talks about his form of spirituality. He talks about how he studies these monthly spiritual lessons known as the Eckankar discourses. He talks about conscious dream travel and soul travel. And he shares the hue. And one of the women says, that's perfect timing to hear this. My niece has been trying to learn lucid dreaming. Do you think Eckankar could help her with that? Yes. We'll hear the rest of the story at some point, I'm sure. So here's another one, and we're going to go to waking daily life. And this is what I would call waking life lucidity. If you treat this physical world as a form of a dream, how conscious are we really when we're going through our everyday life? Like, how conscious are we to what's happening and what life is trying to show us or teach us? So this is a longtime student of Eckankar from Iowa. We'll call her Anita. And Anita wakes up one Sunday morning and her right arm is not functioning properly. It's just not cooperating. And she wakes her husband up and she's like, I might be having a stroke. And they did not panic. They get in the car, they're driving to the hospital, and their conversation is, what do you think the spiritual purpose of this is? So they get there. The tests reveal that, in fact, she had a mild stroke. But by the time the test results came in, the symptoms were resolved. Then a technician comes in to do an echocardiogram. And Anita's sitting there, and he starts talking. He opens up. He's talking about how his first wife passed away. And then his mother also passed away. And he starts to cry. He's crying. And Anita tells this technician, they're still alive. They're just in a different place. You'll see them again. And he says, through the tears here, he's, I believe that. I believe that. And she goes on. She says, this earth is a schoolhouse for soul. We don't have a soul. We are soul. We come back lifetime after lifetime to learn. He says, I believe that. And he's still crying, but now it's kind of an upbeat crying. His heart was open, so he's crying with that. So as he finished his work, he said, this was no coincidence today that we met. I don't usually work at this location on Sundays. So we needed to meet, and he knew there was a divine hand orchestrating this to bring them together so that they could have this conversation and dialogue. And she showed him the Eckankar Hue app so he could tune into the Hue. And she says that's one reason why she had a mild stroke. Spiritual purpose was to meet with this gentleman. Then she said the other reason is that probably because I'm due for a new state of consciousness. So even when these difficult things happen, it's your golden contract with Divine Spirit, the Ek, that you're going to learn something valuable from this, that fuels you, that fulfills you, that makes life meaningful and purposeful. Anything, everything. So the final story here comes from an assisted living residence in Minnesota. A longtime resident was sitting at the dinner table. His name is Harold. Some of you may know him. This was last night. So he's at the dinner table, and a new resident is there and sitting with Harold, and he has Parkinson's disease. And he says in the course of sitting there with Harold, he says, I want to go to church, but I don't think I can get there. I don't have a way to get there. And Harold says, God knows where you are. God knows where you are. So everywhere you are is holy. Everywhere you are is holy. And so there it is, right there, right here. These Ek Masters are living life. They're here in ways that people don't recognize. We don't recognize most of the time that they're even there. They're one with Spirit, and it's a very natural thing. So when you hear about the Mahanta, the inner teacher, the inner guide, he is one with Spirit. He's a face of divine love that can reach anybody, whether they're a formal student of Eckankar or not. It's just, if you just put out a sincere request, the Mahanta can help. If you just want to do dream study on your own, check it out. So we're going to do, so speaking of right now, if you want to start, well, continue your journey of a new year of spiritual growth, we can do a Hue together. And Hue is the God sound. It knows where you are because it's already here. It's the God energy, the God current. And we are a God particle. That little point of awareness, is soul. It's you, it's me. It's eternal, it's unique, it's divine, it's creative. And every atom of life is here for a creative purpose. And it's seeking fulfillment of its divine purpose. So before we start singing Hugh, you might have come in with New Year's resolutions, or you might have set a goal for the new year, or for the new week, or a new day. You just want to declare a new day. Go ahead and take a moment for that. All right, you probably got it, whatever yours is. And the thing is, sometimes we clutch to the goal, we clutch to the desire, and we grab it really hard, and I gotta make this thing happen. And one secret for me, just worked for me, that I discovered after clutching a lot, is when you form these intentions, lovingly turn them over to the Holy Spirit, to Divine Spirit. Put it into the God current and let go and see what happens. And it's like there's an extra special dimension there that's outside of cause and effect. It can alter your line of destiny. So as we do this and we do Hugh, feel free to create and let go with love. And we'll sing Hugh for 3 or 4 minutes and then take a minute of quiet contemplation. Welcome back. So, 2026, it's here. We talk about the easy way discourses, and as we go through the year, there will undoubtedly be many hard, difficult moments. Eckankar doesn't say it's all going to be easy. However, there's an easier way, and each one of us has this golden link in eternity with whatever we call the divine, whoever or whatever you look to, whether it's the Mahanta, divine spirit, just spirit, the universe, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna. As long as there's a love bond with this something more, go back to that golden bond in that moment and take some time and dwell in it, and it'll make the pathway easier. So, good luck on your soul adventures, and thank you all for being here today. Thank you. Thank you. May the blessings be now and always. Thank you. Thank you.